Hey everybody, it's Gauntlet X and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. It is another spooky season draft, Duskmourn, House of Horror. We've had some great experiences with, well, not great. We had a solid experience with a Boros aggro deck. So we've done the Midnight Mayhem thing, done a nice green-black Delirium deck, and now for this draft, we get to start in a different color, grabbing a blue spell right off the bat. The Unnerving Grasp is great tempo and great value. 3 mana for a 2/2 plus bounce any non-land permanent back to its owner's hand. That includes your own non-land permanents. Important to keep in mind with some of the rooms in this set having really good enter effects, like 3 mana deal fort or something. You could like play that, then Unnerving Grasp it back to your hand and basically draw another removal spell. So it's a pretty flexible, pretty powerful card. That fits well into any of the blue decks. Manifest Dread as well, because it's looking at the top two, putting one into play as a 2/2 and the other into your grave. Works really well with Delirium, because this is a sorcery going to your grave, so that's one card type. Whatever you're milling off of the Manifest Dread is another card type, and maybe even what you're putting into play. So Unnerving Grasp is a great flexible option to start the draft off. Pick 2, Kona is not the greatest. The survival mechanic in general is a bit finicky. You have to be able to kind of swing this in and have it be tapped during your second main phase. Technically, it does work with cards like vehicles and spacecraft, but there's no spacecraft in the set, obviously, and the only vehicles in the entire set are at like rare. So really the only way to consistently trigger survival is to attack and have them survive that combat. So when they have lower toughness like this, like 4 mana for only a 3 toughness card, kind of a hard sell. You have to run like a bunch of combat tricks to get it working. And even if you do get this one working, because by the time it attacks and survives, it's at least turn 5, you're probably just putting something to play you already could have afforded. So I'm not very high on Kona for that reason, which leaves me with Seize from Slumber as a pretty solid removal spell, and that's about it. There are okay filler cards like the Underwater Tunnel, Slimy Aquariums here if we want to take on color filler, and then off color filler like Unsettling Twins or Say Its Name or something, but I'll just take the solid removal. Not a very exciting pack though. Pick number 3. Honestly, bunch of very mid commons and uncommons again. Like fine role fillers in the right deck, like Patched Plaything or Cathartic Parting. I think these two are probably the best cards here. But it's such an unexciting and uninteresting pack here that I think the best pick trying to just win is probably like Terramorphic Expanse. But even that is very exciting for a pick 3, so I'm just going to go for something goofy. I'll take the Central Elevator Promising Stairs. Blue-red rooms, one of the weakest archetypes in the whole set, but very fun when you can pull it off. I have some fond memories from the early access and pre-release back before, everybody knew how to draft the set really well and could come up with really powerful decks. I was just messing around with blue-red rooms a lot, and I'd like to relive that a little bit on this flashback trip, even if it might not be the strongest place to be. So maybe we can try to do the whole all-in blue-red rooms deck here. Central Elevator and Unnerving Grasp getting us towards that deck for now. And I think that that's a pack that is more than weak enough that speculation doesn't really cost us anything. So even if we don't go blue-red rooms, which is perfectly likely, we didn't really lose anything by taking that. Pick 4. We have better commons this time around. Bashful Beast, the Unsettling Twins Murder, but still not very exciting. There's a board wipe for only the big stuff with Restricted Office. That's kind of narrow, but that could be fine in like a blue-white enchantments deck. Beastie might be the best card by like individual win rate, but considering we do have Seize from Slumber, we do have a little bit of room synergy potentially. I might try out the Restricted Office thing. This feels a lot better in the sideboard, and this is obviously a best of 1 draft, so that's a bit awkward. Because like if we're playing against red-white or blue-white or something like that, it's not really going to blow up all that much. But if we're playing against one of the green decks, they can get some real beefy creatures, and Restricted Office can actually put in some work, so we'll have to see. Pick 5. Again, I think I'm just not the biggest fan of Duskmourn House of Horrors, at least the commons and uncommons, because I haven't been excited about any of these packs since pack 1, pick 1, really. I mean, Surgical Suite Hospital Room is genuinely pretty good in more aggressive white-based decks, which blue-white definitely can be. So this is good in blue-white and red-white. But everything else in the pack, I'm just like so disinterested in. Come on in, Surgical Suite. There's a Meat Locker Drowned Diner. Okay. That's 4 different rooms right now. Do we get to go blue-white rooms? Trying to get 8 unlocked for Promising Stairs? That's not really the idea. Blue-red is the archetype that actually has some uncommons that care about the number of rooms you have, but we've got 4 already, which if we unlock both halves counts as 8, so yeah, we'll take the Meat Locker here. Glimmerlight is the safer pick for sure. This fits into any deck that's being somewhat aggressive, particularly good in the Eerie decks where you get value off of enchantments entering, but that's certainly the safer pick. But Meat Locker Drown Diner is one of the better blue commons anyway, and it works really well with what we're doing so far. We could take another one here over just a Megalodon, really, or an off-color removal spell like Murder. I mean, Innocuous Rat is better than Murder in this set, but Murder's still okay. Pick 8. Monumentally filler commons. Erratic Apparition does look okay for this deck with just the sheer quantity of rooms we have right now. But I could also disregard win rate entirely and just do the stupidest deck ever and try to go like 5 color rooms. Maybe we'll open up Marina or get past Marina. She's a white, blue, black, red, green creature that like draws a bunch of rooms out of your deck and doubles up your triggers or something like that. I'm going to speculate there. Here's a blue-white dual land. Creepy Peepee is okay here. Possessed Ghost is pretty awful. So it's Peeper versus Campground. I'll take the Campground. Another Campground here. Unsettling Twins is solid filler too, though. I'll actually take the Twins over a second duel this early. Well, I mean, based on what we're wheeling, it does seem like blue and white are reasonably open colors. Plaything's really good with Surgical Suite as well, because this only gets its -1/-1 counters if it's cast from your hand. So if we trade it off and then Surgical Suite it back, it's the full-on 4/3 double strike, which is nice. But anyways, I think the reason our deck is pretty weak right now is just that these packs were quite weak. I do think we're probably in the correct colors based on how things are going on. So hopefully some stronger packs get opened here and we actually start working our way towards a very reasonable blue-white kind of rooms deck, weirdly. If I want to appeal to my monkey brain and just have fun, we just jam a room again. But Exercise and Get Out are generally solid, or genuinely solid. So they're probably better picks here than a 3rd copy of Meat Locker. Yeah, Exercise is probably the best pick here, but Get Out is fine as well in this set. And it's okay in a rooms deck. You pick up 2 of your rooms to replay, get their ETB effects again. I'm just gonna take Meat Locker. All rooms all day. Y'all can't stop me. Trapped in the Screen for excellent removal. Creature's still looking pretty bad here. Erratic Apparition, certainly the better one for this deck, potentially. Keys to the House can unlock a room for 3, but we're spending an entire card just to unlock 1 room, which is not what you want to do. It's like a 1/2 for 1. We don't need it for the fixing, that's for sure. We could take a Bookworm here. If we go all 3 colors, Bookworm is by far the strongest card in this pack. Well, Arabelle is pretty strong too, but I don't think an Arabelle off the splash is nearly as good as a Bookworm off the splash. Draw a card, discard a card every turn. Still consistently good later, but just stick to our core colors. I do think our Plaything is nice with the Surgical Suite, as I said. Twist Reality's fine. Fear of Falling is fine. I am really low on creatures right now. And that includes, like, a friendly Teddy. So we'll take the creature. Unable to Scream. Great removal. It's an enchantment as well, which can be relevant in this archetype. There's an Underwater Tunnel Slimy Aquarium, but I took rooms highly enough that I'll still have plenty without it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already. Unwilling Vessel's fine for this kind of deck as well, but it does play quite slow, and there's plenty of ways to exile it or just shut off its ability to stop it from actually creating that spirit. All right, here we go. Grand Entryway, Elegant Rotunda. More rooms, more fun. 3 Eerie triggers off of 1 card, because 2 enchantments off the entryway and 1 off Rotunda. Not that we have a bunch of cards that actually have Eerie triggers right now, but this is the color pair with the most Eerie triggers. Glimmer Burst looks great for this deck. Get a 1/1 on the board at instant speed and draw 2, dig for more rooms. Dazzling Theater Prop Room. As into rooms as I am, this one does almost absolutely nothing in draft. Meat Locker number 4. Probably supposed to take Vanish from Sight, but I don't care. Sick synergy. All rooms. I got a lot of 3s here. We'll take a Don't Make a Sound. Piranha Fly. Got a whole 3rd pack to improve this deck. I just want to get 1 win off of Promising Stairs. That's what I want to do today. We'll go 1-3, but it'll be the funnest win of the flashback drafts. I don't love Jump Scare. I don't hate Peculiar Lighthouse, because if we get one of the blue-red room uncommons, it will be genuinely a great splash in this deck, because we have so many rooms already. Okay. This is not a great pack for us. Glimmer Burst and Fear of Immobility look best for this deck. I don't think we really have the cards to exile to cast this Fear of Abduction. Got a tiny, tiny bit of Glimmer production. 1 burst, 1 entryway. We're going to be a lower creature count deck and only like a couple ways to make a token or a manifested card. Don't think Fear of Abduction's great in here. I'm going to take a Glimmer Burst again. More card draw, more digging for the specific like best cards of the deck. That's also more instants going in here, which makes our counter spells better. So that we can hold up like a Twist Reality and then Glimmer Burst if we don't need to cast it. So I will take the Twist here. Another Grand Entryway, Elegant Rotunda. Come on in. Maybe Wheel of Plaything if we're lucky. It's an Underwater Tunnel, Slimy Aquarium. Take that over Get Out. We have a bunch of other counters right now. Another Unnerving Grasp is excellent. This is a weird pack 3, just infinite copies of Fear of Abduction being opened. Is it just me, or has there been a lot of duplicates in the flashback draft this time around? Take an exercise on this one. We are not a Lionheart Glimmer deck. Just don't go that wide. I mean, we could be a Keybearer deck. That's cute. But again, most of our rooms are like 4 mana max unlocks. Another Fear Fallen. I mean, now I have more glimmers. I could probably play one of these Fear of Abductions. Hopefully somebody else took the rest of them, because I don't think I want to draft more. But now I'm on double Glimmer Burst, double Grand Entryway. That's still low. Alright, nobody took them. I'm not playing more than one in this deck. I highly doubt that's a good idea. Take a Fear of Immobility. I'll play another Plaything. If I get to Plaything Surgical Suite, I'll have fun. And some stuff we're not going to play to end off this draft. Alright, this is not a good example of what blue-white is doing in the set. Usually it has a really aggressive low mana value curve. The best cards, signpost uncommons for the archetype, are like a blue-white 2/2 that makes a 1/1 every time you play an enchantment or unlock a room, and a 1 mana 1/1 that puts a +1/+1 counter on the board every time you play an enchantment or unlock the room. So this is not what you generally are doing in blue-white. I really do want to mention that. I do think somebody else was probably in blue-white doing the much more traditional path, We just kind of ended up in that direction because I wanted to do room stuff, and the players in these colors were not interested in all these rooms, so we get to do goofy room stuff here. It's got the most mediocre creatures. All our manifestors up there, those are also creatures. And then our glimmers are creatures. So quite a few creatures still right now. Oh, this is a 4-mana creature, not a 5-mana creature. This is more of a counterspell than it is a creature. I'm probably not cutting it, I'm just making sure to keep it outside of the creature curve. Here, I'll put it way down there. Twins does not really have any synergy for us. I still feel like Fear of Abduction is kind of a hard sell for this deck. It will be good when we've drawn an entryway or a Glimmer Burst and that Glimmer is still around, but every other time I think it'll be pretty bad. I mean, it does put each exiled card back in the hand, so we'll get our card back as well when it dies, but still. I don't know. I guess we are doing a lot of manifesting, and that is a way to like save a manifested instant or sorcery or enchantment or something. I'll try it out here, but I don't think I'll be the most impressed. I don't think I'm that aggressive to want Piranha Fly either. It does leave us pretty low on early stuff, but hopefully enough meat lockers to slow things down after that. Yeah, let's cut these. Now we get to where things are really hard to cut. So I still need to cut 8 more cards. I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 creatures. I am not an aggressive deck. I don't need this many. Could still cut a couple more, maybe. I think I'm definitely cutting Found Footage. It just doesn't have any synergy for us, and we have double Glimmer Burst for draw. Quadruple Drowned Diner are also draw spells. I probably am supposed to cut at least 1 Meat Locker. Maybe some Don't Make a Sounds. I like Get Out better than them in this deck, because we have the alternate path of picking up some rooms. Doing some goofy nonsense there. Could also pick up a Trapped in the Screen if it like exiled a good token or something. Or if it exiles like a manifested card that turns out to be like a land or something, then it's fine to pick it back up in the late game and just give them their land. Yeah, maybe I actually just do end up playing almost none of these counter spells just because I don't have a ton of room. Or I could play all the counter spells and go really low creature count. Just all in on Central Elevator control, or Promising Stairs control. That means cutting Fear of Abduction as well. Probably not a great way. Try to run this. The Surgical Suite Hospital Room is actually starting to look really inconsistent. Even if I don't cut any of these. It only picks up creatures mana value 3 or less, which I have 4 of if I cut none. Okay, probably drop that. And if I'm dropping that, cut a bunch of creatures mainly. Which means definitely cut Fear of Abduction. Blue-white hard control room control deck here. This is going to be a really, really goofy deck. But we'll have some fun this time around. That's for sure. Alright, we'll get rid of the 4th Meat Locker. Call it a deck there. Blue-white room control. We'll see if we can't get a victory off of the Promising Stairs. Don't expect too much from this deck. This is not what the archetype is supposed to be doing in blue-white here, and this looks really slow and pretty inconsistent. But it will be fun, and it will be incredible if we manage to get that Promising Stairs victory. So, see how things pan out for us as we hop into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. Solid start here. We got some blockers on curve. 2, 3, and 4. Valgavost Faithful. So our opponent's going to try to do some cheesy reanimator stuff. They get a big creature into their grave and bring back for only 4 mana. If they got a great rare or mythic, that could end the game super quickly, but there's even some uncommons that are really powerful for that kind of archetype. Just slow them down a bit here. Does not need to tap to use its ability, so I'm definitely not going to meat locker that. Another Unnerving Grasp, which would be super annoying if we want. I don't hate it. I would be a huge fan of it if I had another blue. It doesn't seem crazy to just like surveil and then get some counters here. Save the bounce spell for whatever they reanimate. That does seem a lot better. Another blue. I think so. I have the 5 for Drowned Diner. I guess they can't really reanimate something next turn still, because they have to have something good engraved to reanimate. So unless they get a good hit off a Innocuous Rat, they don't get to crack Faithful next turn. Alright, they got a decent hit off the rat. To 6/5. Alright, sure. Spend the card on the 6/5. I think I have to discard Meat Locker Drown Diner here. So I have the counter spell up this turn. A little sad, but I got 2 more in the deck. And a couple Glimmer Lights. I think I have enough cards on this deck that this doesn't hurt that much. A lot of pressure on them here. We've got them down to 7. Now we get a flyer out that can shut off their flying blockers. Gets rid of all their abilities on whatever we target. Well, not all their abilities, just flying. So I guess reach blockers do still work against Fear of Falling. That is a flying blocker, not a reach blocker though, so that doesn't work. Oop, block there, go to 1. They have to take the not kill. And essentially their only shot here should be some kind of complete board wipe, of which there are really not a lot in this set. Oh my god. Sheltered by Ghosts is such a stupid card. That might just straight up solo me here. They're at 4 life. They have to play another blocker. If they have nothing in their hand that costs less than 6, then they're still dead. Oh wait, no, they don't have to, because the Spirits is going to have enough power on blocks here to gain 5. So they're at essentially 6 life, and I hit for 5, which isn't enough. So if I miss on this draw step, they just straight up went off sheltered by ghosts. Oh! Thank the Lord. The Lord of the Magic Arena Shuffler. All right. Oh. Cannot stress enough how lucky that draw was. If we drew a land there, we were in a really, really terrible spot. Because a 3-3, a 2-2, and a 3-3 would just attack in. They eat a 3-3, but they take 5, gain 5. They remain alive at essentially the exact same life total, but we lose a creature. And then the turn after, they play another giant blocker, and it just starts running away from us real quick. So yeah, if we hit a land there, we were in dire straits. If they could play like 2 blockers on their next turn, they could even like play the 2 blockers and then just start swinging and gaining and flipping the life total in their favor in this guy here. So stressful ending, but great luck with that that perfectly timed meat locker off the top to keep it going. And we actually get a tempo aggro victory in a deck that I was just saying, like, I ripped all the creatures out. This is like just a control deck that can only win off of Promising Stairs now. Not the case. We could still tempo out with our Manifesties and our room creatures. Game 2. This is a much more just straight control hand, but I'm fine with that. We draw one of our 5 draw spells in the deck later in the game, and that'll get us going. We're just going to shut this off immediately so it doesn't get to mill them every turn and fuel their delirium. So, well, there's the removal for that. Yeah, that'll save the beastie, but then I can exercise the beastie. I was going to say, so as I was saying, this is just going to be 1/1 removal spell every threat they play until we draw one of our draw spells and then use that to get ahead in the long run. That is the plan. Entryway Rotunda, sure. The fungus is like really good against their deck, so against our deck, so even if their plan was not to save Beastie from the Unable to Scream, I think it's perfectly reasonable to seize that before we play anything good for them to blow up. Okay, all of our draws are lands so far, a little awkward. Miss out on 1/1/1 counter here to poke for 2, that's fine. We don't know when we're going to draw another creature in this very creature-light deck. If they block here, they put an artifact in their grave. So they could have artifact, creature, and land in grave. Well, they're just going to have creature and land in grave for now, off of Terramorphic Expanse. Break down the door, manifest some dread, get an instant into the grave, get a creature into the grave. They'll not full delirium, but they will have it after an artifact. That was a great one, Fear of Falling. Happy to have the exercise for that. It's an Unnerving Grasp as well. Don't mind getting the tempo here. Oh, I didn't realize exercise is a sorcery. It's a little weird. A little worse than I thought it was, but still perfectly playable in here. I guess this would be like way too good as an instant, right? Because then it's like a way better revoke existence or whatever. Boop the big boy. Double big boy. One was bad enough for us that I don't think I could just sit there and try to sandbag the wipe. If we find our central elevator promising stairs, we win the game. Because the central elevator tutors another room out. So we play that, grab another one, play the other one, and then that's 8 rooms with different names after we've unlocked them all. Man, trapped in the screen with hexproof is really good. But they could have a counter here. Gross. I have to double trump here. I guess the only way we stood a chance here was just sandbagging restricted office, but I couldn't have sandbagged it for 2 turns. I could have killed 2 branch snappers, but there was no way to hold it long enough to kill Fear of Falling as well. Once I've like taken a hit from the first branch snapper and they have a second on board, I can't hold another turn there. Yeah, that's awkward. The one thing we could have done was sandbag the office a little longer. We would have gotten at least another turn out of that game, so that's definitely a misplay in hindsight. But, I mean, outside of that, I think we just drew really awkwardly there. We certainly flooded a bit, and the fact that we didn't draw a single one of our draw spells, I think is really what the nail in the coffin was there. We manifested a Glimmer Burst, but we didn't play any of our 2 Glimmer Bursts or our 3 Drown Diners to draw 2 or 3 cards and get enough cards to counteract what they're doing. Yeah. I think that was mostly our draws, but also could have played the restricted office more greedily, I guess, and we would have actually gotten 2 creatures off of it. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 3. We are 1-1 right now. So I'm already at least my suggested record of 1-3. However, that one victory is not gonna be the way that I wanted it to be if I go 1-3. Because I said I'd be fine going 1-3 if my one win is a Promising Stairs win, which will not be the case here if I go 1-3. So fingers crossed for at least 2-3. My only goal is to win with Promising Stairs. No, 0 damage. Okay. I guess the amount of manifesting I have going on in this deck could be awkward for the goal of winning with Promising Stairs. Because what happens if I just manifest it, right? Like, I've got a couple ways to bounce it back to my hand. But not a ton. Whew, that was a good turn to hold up the counterspell. Honestly, I think there was a really good argument for not doing so and just getting tempo, but somehow I just had a third eye open up there and it was just like, yep, this is the turn. Hold up the counter. Counter unless they pay 2. I think this turn I actually just activate this, and then once I have 5 mana, I can play a 3-drop and hold up Don't Make a Sound. Because unless their card is another like rare with a great enter effect. And then I can just like stun it or something. with a Meat Locker, bounce it with Unnerving Grasp. Okay, Optimistic Scavenger. Could not have countered that, but could counter their Grasp. And this is why we picked the good card. Actually, might have been better to have drawn the land to our hand there. I wasn't expecting immediate bounce, but we did immediately draw the land, so it all plays fine regardless. I don't really want to grasp their face down for the same reason that them grasping ours actually played pretty well for us. Like, it could be a good spell under there. We will probably cast Seized from Slumber this turn, but obviously if they play another Nico-style Great Rare, we'll Don't Make a Sound instead. Stalked Researcher. I'll still actually just counter that. When they don't have the mana to pay for that, since Don't Make a Sound is one of those counter spells that just stops being relevant later in the game. It stops actually working. What is their dog doing? You need to calm down, dog. I cast Don't Make a Sound and then it immediately made every sound in the world. Sorry, I gotta get my head back in the game. This is just a perfectly fine, just Glimmer Burst. And I've cast 2 counterspells, so they might even play around the third one and play a weaker spell instead of their best play in hand. Piranha Fly. Sure. Whee! Stun the fly for a little bit. They got their own Don't Make a Sound here. Mayhaps. Oh, a Drowner. Shuffle somebody back in, or just stun it for a turn. Well, I know where I'm blocking. Unless they have an instant speed enchantment to trigger Scavenger. This block is good with me. Sure. Trade with the face down instead of the Glimmer. Nothing to exercise yet. Let's go into the diner. Land, board wipe. But this is a mirror match, so their creatures are pretty small. So it's a pretty bad board wipe here. It's still stunned for a turn. I can blow it up the turn after this. Yeah, I can get my 1/1. I'm at 18 life still, so I can just take a hit. Painter Studio, draw 2. And then I can give their whole board +1/+0 on attacks. Draw an Orphans of the Wheat and a Plains. Children of the Corn, Orphans of the Wheat. This is a pretty direct reference there. They're going to go all in on the Piranha Fly? It'd be pretty sick if they did. Now they're going to make Researcher slightly more important to spread things out here. No one's big enough for restricted office still, right? Oh wait, no, all with power 3 or greater. So I can kill Piranha Fly with Restricted Office. I don't think that's insane in this matchup. Because if I use Seize from Slumber, there will be nothing on board I can blow up with Restricted Office. So then it might be literal centuries before that does anything at all. This is so weird, but I'm just going to kill a single Piranha Fly. Save the rest of this stuff. Orphans is their only particularly good attacker right now, so we'll stun it. I got 15 cards left. We have not drawn our Promising Stairs once yet today, but it's already a victory with how many rooms we have out here. Let's see what they flip this. Is it 3 toughness or more? It is. Oh, it's a gigantic menace card. Spooky. It's spooky. Where are you? You promised. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Pass. This Don't Make a Sound is worthless here. But what can you do? I mean, I could have surveilled 2 there, I guess. Wouldn't be crazy. Down to 16. Where in the universe? Bottom 10 cards? Come on. Bottom quarter of the deck. I'm dying quick at this point. Oh my god. Midnight Mayhem. Glassworks. Counter that. Take a bajillion. No relevant blocks. This is so tragic, because even if we draw it now, it's a turn too late, because it doesn't win the game until the upkeep, I believe. Bro. Yeah, it's an upkeep trigger. Fashionably late little jerk. I've already drawn all my other rooms. That's so crazy. Oh my god. That's such a depressing ending. So absurd. If I didn't seize from slumber the scavenger, because they double spelled in the end of that turn, casting Drown Diner and Toby. They ended up tapping enough mana that I might have been able to, I would have been able to counter Toby there. Maybe countering Toby would have stopped just enough damage to buy us enough time, but I don't think so. Actually, no. We could have won that if we had the counter up for Toby, right? So if I took the extra damage to still have that flexibility of just in case they somehow play enough spells that Don't Make a Sound works, then I would have Don't Make a Sound to Toby, and I could have kept Trapped in the Screen for Defaced Gallery instead. Right? Like, I kind of had to exile the 4/4, because exiling the 4/4 stopped essentially 5 damage a turn, because it was a 4/4 with +1/+0. So stop 5 damage a turn by hitting that. But then, because they went Toby into Midnight Mayhem, the Midnight Mayhem afterward made it so that Defaced Gallery actually ended up being more damage than the Beast token. So if we played played around exactly what they had there of having Don't Make a Sound up for Toby and then specifically trapping the Defaced Gallery, I think we would have exactly enough time to get that one extra room we needed to win this game. Not that one extra room, that one extra turn. That one extra bit of breathing room. I've got rooms on the mind too much. God, that was... yeah, those are the things that were in our control that we could have changed. So that's what to focus on here. There was obviously a lot out of our control with the card being the 31st card of our deck, but if I took the extra damage to have a potential one more opportunity to counter off, it actually could have played towards the wind there because of how powerful the second spell they cast that turn was, having it be a Toby. 1 and 2 heading into game number 4. All right, here we are on the play for game number 4. We are 1 and 2 right now. We were literally one turn from winning last game, which was super disappointing. And then our first loss, we just mega flooded. Did not draw a single draw spell all game, so I don't think this deck is doing terribly in terms of how it's performing within the gameplay. However, the record itself obviously is performing terribly. You do not want to start 1 and 2, but the cards have looked really solid and synergistic. Looks like the deck is definitely capable of getting some wins here. But we will have to play our absolute heart out to actually accomplish that at this point. This is the twist reality versus twist reality mirror. Just stare at each other. Unable to screen whatever they play this turn, or maybe grasp it if it doesn't have any ETB. Not grasp that, that's for sure. I wish those things had one more power for our restricted office. We had exactly one good matchup for restricted office, which is really awkward. Everyone else has been the blue-white decks that are mostly power 2 and less, like we are. God, Manifest is really good against bounce spells. I don't really want to bounce it back. Even if it's a land, if they don't have any more lands in their hand, that's still value for them. Scream targets are pretty bad. I just don't even think we really have a play here. This is awkward, because like I was talking the deck up during the very start of this game, and this game, by far, our deck has played the worst. This looks like a pretty bad matchup for it. Just an opponent with a bunch of instant speed stuff and tiny creatures that we don't want to bounce because they either have good ETBs or are a manifested creature. Okay, that's an easy counter at least. So that helps a lot. Still pretty awful targets. I mean, I could just grasp their token, I guess. That's not horrific. Then I have a 2/2 blocker up. Oh. Glad I've got the Unable to Scream for that, because that's one of the strongest rares. The set has a lot of really strong rares. Drawn to the Grasp. So this thing halves my entire life total whenever it hits me. It's also a Death Toucher, so anything that I try to kill it with, it's going to trade with, and then when I do take that trade, it comes right back to the battlefield stunned. Okay, and then here's a mythic that makes a 1/1 every time they attack with anybody, and then makes their entire board power and toughness equal to the number of creatures they control. Ay. We are just getting mega bombed on this one. And we cannot find second white. Not that it matters too much right now. I guess the Unable to Scream does make it a toy, which is nice. Oh lord. If I could only draw that card, that would be perfect. I mean, maybe if they go for the 6-mana version of that spell, we actually get them to a point where their board is all power 3 or greater, and then Restrict Office actually does pop off. Think we draw 3, discard 1 here instead of stunning the manifested card. And with all their mana open, we unlock instead of playing a new one to play around a counter. This is really weird, but I kind of want to ditch Fear of Falling. So I can play Entryway this turn. I'm not ditching Restricted Office against the Dollhouse. And I don't want to ditch Meat Locker either. Just gonna make a 5/5 here. Stun the 5/5 with Meat Locker. They can go to 9. Come on, central elevator promising stairs off the top one time, baby. That is not that. Those are not that either. Would I rather Surveil 2 and fully blow up the Fear of Immobility, or just stun the Fear of Immobility and save these for later? If I stun it and then they unlock the gallery, I go chump, 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 and then board wipe. I really want that to happen. I'm gonna go for the Meat Locker here and hope they go for the just unlock the gallery swing. Because it's good for them on board. It forces us to chump, chump, chump. But then our restricted office is so live. God dang it. They're not going for that. Another 4. This would be 4 5-power attackers next turn. Can play one more blocker and hold up a Seized from Slumber. I stop 5 damage by chumping next turn instead of 4 for chumping now. They unlock gallery, so I think I take this. Oh, there's the trapped in the screen for it. I really do think we're... Oh! 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 Well, shoot. I don't think we can win now. We hit that. Because now I can't board wipe. Or that's gone. God. Maybe they'll bounce it. Maybe they'll bounce it. I was going to say I really do think that our best play is still have them unlock the gallery and then go chumps and then board wipe. And then after the board wipe, we trapped in the screen the gallery. But if I now don't have a central elevator to draw, like, well, that's just going to be it. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, we're not going to have the tools we need to turn the game around after this. Because we don't have our win condition. If it were in the same spot that it was last game, where it was the 31st card in the deck, that would have been perfect. But it was not to be. Yeah, see, the issue with this is, like, I can stop one of their mythic rares, and then they can just surgical sweep back the other Mega Bomb rare. The Slasher is technically not a mythic, but in terms of card quality, it's basically a mythic. Yeah. Yeah, their deck is just wildly good, and we still could have won if our elevator was not right there for our manifest. Just a wildly disappointing draft. This deck was fun. This deck was cool, and those games were all still tremendously close. Right, like, if you swap the order of cards by, like, 1 and have Central Elevator just be, like, 1 card lower, just right underneath the Manifest, we just win that game. And then that's the same with our second loss. If Central Elevator were literally 1 card sooner, we would have won that game as well. Yeah, I said it a lot during the draft. We were not drafting for the best possible deck. We were drafting for the funnest possible deck. I think this deck was really fun. It had a lot of potential, but we were just constantly 1 card off. We did not have the heart of the cards today. The heart of the cards was laughing in our faces. Not only did we not hit the right stuff, but we hit exactly just wrong enough to lose the game. It was always 1 turn from the win or 1 card too soon so that it gets milled. Really sad stuff. I still think we had a respectable showing in those games considering the quality of decks that we faced against. Our deck was certainly much more goofy and way less bomby than the decks we were losing to. I mean, having to try to beat 1 Slasher or 1 Porcelain Gallery is already hard enough, let alone both together and that kind of stuff, so. It may be a 1-3, but the way the game's actually played out with how close 2 of our 3 losses were. I mean, the first loss was not particularly close. We were just really flooded and had no card draw. But the second 2 losses, again, being that close to where just 1 card of a difference in the draw order would have won us the game, I think is still a respectable showing in terms of how the games themselves went, even if it's not a particularly respectable record. Cool deck. Tragic draft today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.